Okay, so now to start attaching power wires, we're looking at our bank one that we previously identified when we rang out the harness. We're attaching that to the BP Automotive pink wire with the black tracer, and that little blob of solder is because I stopped to pick this up in the video, so we'll continue the soldering operation now. And again, it's all about being quick and smooth, and the idea is that the solder does not flow back into the conductors under the wire jacket. We'll bring in the shrink tube. We use a torch because we found it's the most efficient way to do it quickly and easily. If you don't have a small torch like that, just use a heat gun for each joint, and then move it out of the way. And
proceed as normal.
now it's going to be bank number 2, which we've identified on the tag, and bank 2 in the BP fuse block is pink with a blue tracer. And the splice we're doing is referred to as a Western Union lineman splice. It's been around since the telegraph, and it's proven itself reliable for decades.
Come on, little guy.
No, that's the lunch bell.
Okay, now for the fun one.
Yeah, so that's now bank 1 and bank 2 coils have been done, and now what we have to do is the mass airflow sensor, the oxygen sensor, and the EVAP circuit all get powered by the single solid pink wire from the BP fuse block. So this is a 4-into-1 lineman splice, but the same process is followed. Quick soldering operation, covered by 3 or 4-to-1 heat shrink, marine heat shrink. So the trick to not burning the heat shrink is to keep the torch moving.
As quickly as possible. Where'd my tape go? Oh.
So what he's doing here is, it's a process we call controlling it. So as we've finished with the circuits, we're going to use the electrical tape provided in the kit, and we're going to just give it a wrap around the main trunk of the harness. Again, and we're just trying to control this spaghetti as we go along.
Okay, so my next pink white is all of my purple.
Yeah, so what we're doing now is we're separating out the power circuits that power the ECM X1 connector, and there will be 3 of them. So it'll be a purple, 2 purple with blue, a purple with green, and then we're also going to have to tie in the accessory wake wire, which it has the factory splice pack on it. This wire heads down to the TCM, which is 6L80, so it's going down to the end of the harness. If this were an 8L or a 10L, this wire, this violet with the yellow tracer would head to the separate connector that I showed in the introduction video. So all of these are going to tie together, and then we're going to do 1 lineman splice to the pink with white wire in the BP Automotive fuse block. So what he's done is he's set the length on everything, and then he's going to do a tape wrap around to kind of hold everybody down. That way you don't have the spaghetti getting wild on you.
Just that, and then preserve my own sanity.
We're tying in the TCM power wire, which if you remember from the ring out video is purple with a black tracer. And that also needs to be powered off of the pink with white wire from the BP fuse block.
Alright, I'll let that cool off.
And then we'll clip and trim the excess copper off of the end, just so it's a clean cut. And then cap that with a piece of 3 or 4 to 1 marine adhesive shrink tube. So on end splices like this, we just go ahead and we'll crimp off the end of the shrink tube while it's hot, and the adhesive seals it shut. So what's been accomplished by cutting the wires like we did here and then pre-cutting the fuse block wires all at the same length is that when the block is attached, you see how this harness is all a consistent size and you don't have anything wadding up in the middle. That's why we do this in particular. Now you could take a lot of extra time, like I said, and stagger your solder joints so that they're not stacking up. But the diameter that this adds to the overall harness is negligible. We're adding maybe a 1/4 inch at the end of the day.
Give or take. Alright, fat purple.
Yeah, so now what's coming down from the BP harness is the thick purple wire. And what that's powering is the injector power side of the E92 or E92A ECM. And so we've grabbed that purple wire, that thick purple wire coming out of the ECM, and we're going to do just an end splice and cap with marine adhesive shrink tape or shrink tube.
Wrong size.
So at this point, we've completed all of the ignition on circuits coming out of the fuse block and feeding the harness. And now what we're going to do is start tackling the memory or battery power circuits. And so this red wire coming out is coming out of the ECM X1 connector. Your all data DIY pinouts will tell you exactly which wire it is. But the good news is it's the only red wire that's going to be coming out of the ECM. And then, of course, coming from the TCM, we're going to have the battery backup for the TCM In this particular case, again, it's a 6L80, so it's coming from way down there. Back up through the harness. If this were a 8L or a 10-speed transmission with the separate TCM connector as shown in an earlier video, you'll still have a red wire coming out of that to power up for battery backup. And it's a two-step process here for the BP harness. The orange wire coming out of the fuse block is going to power the ECM and the number 16 pin on the OBD port, and then the red wire will power the TCM wire going to either the 6L80 or the T87 TCM for 8 and 10 speeds. So again, we've pulled it to length. We're just wrapping it with tape to control it. And again, the whole idea with doing these things and keeping your sanity along the way is controlling the spaghetti.